everybody, welcome back to the Hopry. My name is Starr and today is Friday. So we've looked at raspberry beers this week, and today I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. I am going to be sharing a beer from a very small brewery, I should say, out of Warren, Michigan. They're called Kuhnhenn, and this is their Kuhnhenn Raspberry Eisbock, and it is from 2007. Now, I didn't grow since Wednesday. This is definitely a much smaller bottle than what we're used to looking at. It's not a 12-ounce bottle, and it's not a 750 milliliter, though I'll set this one next to it just so you can kind of get an idea for how small this bottle really is. It comes in a 187 milliliter bottle, which is the equivalent of about 6.3 ounces. So it's pretty small. And the reason why it's small is because this is a very thick, syrupy-like beer. I won't get too detailed about the process of Eisbocks, simply because I've never brewed one. But the information that I've read on this style of beer is that as they're making this beer, they partially freeze it, basically so they can separate some of the water from the alcohol. Now, as most of you know, alcohol doesn't freeze, or it takes it, it has to be very cold before it freezes. Water, on the other hand, will freeze at a much higher temperature. So they take that part out of it, the water component of the brew, so you're left with a more condensed ABV style beer. Now, I think that's what Brewdog does for their Penguin beer and their, Sink the Bismarck and some of those 32-41% alcohol by volume beers. I think that's sort of the process that they use as well. I know they do some freezing based on a couple of videos I saw on YouTube. And I did want to ask breweries out there, if you're brewers and you see this video, which maybe you do, maybe you don't, I don't know, take the lead on this. I really think this is a great idea, especially for some of the higher ABV beers. Now, I've talked about this one several times this week. This is an 18% beer, the Dogfish Head Fort, but it comes in a 750 milliliter bottle, and man, you need like 9 guys over to help you drink that thing. This you can kind of do by yourself. So I would really like to see some of those, bigger ABV beers in these smaller bottles. Anyway, I'm just happy to get my hands on it. Really looking forward to try it. I've never had it. This will actually be my first Kuhnhenn beer as well. But just to give you a brief history of their brewery, and I'll make it very quick. They used to own a store, a hardware store in Michigan, and it was a small local hardware store. Lowe's moved in down the street. You can find this information on their website, but anyway, kind of put them out of business, and rather than just shutting down, they turned the location into a brewery, and they brew a pretty small amount of beer. So again, I'm really excited to be able to have some of these. I've got about 3 or 4 others that Randy brought back for me as well, so I'll try to get those on the show as well. Maybe I'll do a Kuhnhenn tasting one time, or even a Kuhnhenn week. And much like I expected, there is 0 head on this beer. In terms of the color as well, it really looks like the color of sweet dates, like briny, sweet, syrupy dates. Very, very syrupy. Again, because they really remove a lot of the water, and because that ups the alcohol by volume, I think this one's probably around 13 to 14% ABV. So not mind-blowing, but it's definitely, getting up there in ABV. But when you start getting higher up like that, you really do start to lose some of the head. And I mean, I poured it fairly vigorously, and I'm shaking the hell out of it right now, and nothing. So I am really expecting this, and even as I say that, I can see that it is just slowly sludging down the inside of that glass. So this is going to be a sweet beer, but let me go ahead and get these nostrils down in there and see what's happening up in Warren, Michigan. Definitely lots of caramel. This is very malty. I would say that it's extremely malty even. I do pick up a lot of those, chocolate qualities in there. Now, it's not a chocolate like, like a roasted chocolate espresso stout. It's very malty. There is some vanilla in there. I get a lot of fruitiness as well. A real rich fruit though. I'm talking like figs and prunes and dates and things that may be roasted in the oven even, and really kind of drizzled with some honey. So very sticky, very fragrant. I'm going to go ahead and try it. Whew. Man, that is intense. So it tastes almost identical to the way it smells. And when you get a beer that's this potent, I think that's probably going to be, pretty evident. Definitely getting a lot of caramel, touch of sourness in there as well. Now that's probably coming, who knows? I think it's probably just so damn strong that, what you would normally see as being sweet is kind of transitioning over into tart. I don't get a whole ton of chocolate on the palate. There's definitely some vanilla in there. I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of this. It's certainly something that you would want to share with someone else. It's surprising to even say that because it's in such a small bottle, but definitely an interesting flavor. So chocolate, not a whole lot. Caramel, yeah, definitely. There is some vanilla in there. It almost tastes, like I said, like there's some barrel aging in this, but I don't believe there is. So interesting how that takes hold. So not my favorite beer that we've had on Raspberry Week. Definitely glad I saved this one till the end because it's sweet. So anyway, not sure what else to say. I'll go ahead and wrap it up for now. Again, I hope you really enjoyed this week of raspberry beers. We've tried 3 very different beers. We had the lambic style beer from Cantillon, which was very tart, very acidic, very funky. Then we went in almost the opposite direction, where we went with the New Glarus raspberry tart that was really focused on just pure raspberry flavor with a slight amount of sweetness. Hardly any, sour in that one. And then this one just slams at the other end of the spectrum. This is extremely sweet. I would say probably too sweet. But for what they were trying to go for, like I said, a dessert beer, I think it's fairly successful. But anyway, again, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this week of raspberry beer. Please go to my website, thehopry.com. Leave me a message. I say this every week. I say this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Leave me a message. You don't have to talk about raspberries. You can talk about, your favorite baseball team. You can talk about the NBA playoffs, whatever you want. Well, that wraps it up, guys. We'll see you next week. Cheers.